This is your City Council Roundup, a recap of what's happening at City Hall with John Ongaro. The views expressed in this program are solely of those of the host and not necessarily those of the radio station or its partners.
I will apologize in advance, Danny, as I don't have much of a voice this morning, so hopefully I can get through all of this without sounding awful by the end, but I'm going to try my best.
I'm here for you.
All right, and what looked like it would be a fairly consequential meeting on a variety of fronts last night turned into a meeting chocked full of some jaw-dropping discussions and decisions, and to be honest, it was hard for me to make sense of it all. There was a lot last night, but really only one major decision. We'll get there. But first, prior to the start of the meeting last night, a closed session non-budget meeting was held in camera, off the record, off the TV. At 5:30, the topic, another gift that just keeps on giving, at least for one councillor. The designated truck route is back. No details on what was discussed last night, but the DTR has been killed by previous councils enough times that I've lost track. It's led to far too many self-serving, heated conversations in chambers trying to justify sending 750 trucks a day down the Thunder Bay Expressway, diverted off Dawson Road, which most common sense people would agree is a terrible idea, but any issues that have been experienced on Dawson Road up until this point, which is an actual highway, are not the road's fault. And at the same time, the DTR would be nearly impossible to police and control. Well, for some reason, it was brought to closed session last night. Despite me asking some of my sources about what was going on, I got nothing. So I guess we'll wait and see when that circus is back in town next week in front of council. So away we go. The city's Infrastructure and Operations Environment Department outlined the progress made to date on the implementation of the Food and Organic Waste Diversion, the Green Bin Program, and automated cart-based collections. An update was given last night. Quick summary. Start date for the Green Bin Collection Program is delayed until the fall of 2026. And the delay is due to supply issues with the waste collection vehicles and some complexities in that. A soft launch of the automated cart-based collection for the garbage stream will begin this fall, with a portion of single-family households receiving the new bins and a remainder of city single-family households onboarded in the spring of 2026. By the way, the curbside leaf and yard waste collection program has been expanded again from 2 to 4 collections annually, with 2 in the spring and 2 in the fall. So some positive changes coming later in the year. Watch this space. We'll keep you up to date. I need a breath.
That's fair. This new garbage collection system that's going to be implemented, we have to get into a different mindset, because
it's a whole
once
different
it's
world.
fully implemented, that will be garbage collection will be every 2 weeks.
Yeah, and
every 2 weeks.
Don't get me started about the bio composting that's going to be going
another
on
one,
in those
yeah.
boxes and the rats in my neighborhood.
Okay, because when it comes down to it, there will be 3 bins. Every household will have 3 bins.
It's going to be busy.
All right.
Next, the final presentation of the City Council Composition Committee. Their final report was brought to council last night. A process that started over a year ago with an exceptionally hardworking small committee who, under the direction of council, put their heads down and went to work finding a new solution for the makeup of your city council. We have 13 members now, including a mayor with wards and 5 at-large members. The committee was given the mandate to engage with the community and to work to find an updated solution for the makeup of our current council. The presentation was extremely well done and well presented by 2 former councillors, Cody Fraser and this program's favorite former councillor, Rebecca Johnson. I'm not shy to say that. Former Councillor Johnson knows her way around council chambers, serving our community for years. So to me, she was the best choice for chair of this committee. So on to their final recommendations. What was it? Well, you heard about it. It is recommended that the city council be composed of 11 members, 1 mayor, 2 members elected at large, and 8 members elected in 4 wards. This change would be implemented, if accepted, before the 2026 municipal election. The existing ward boundaries should be repealed and replaced with the 4-ward model. You've heard about them. They are very, very well laid out. The new ward boundaries will create equitable population, income levels, and demographics, ensuring each ward encompasses diverse segments of the city. Each ward will also include a portion of waterfront, urban, residential, industrial, and rural segments. So the proposed ward system will have 2 ward councillors, which maintains a direct connection with neighborhoods. It increases citizen engagement and allows for shared workload among councillors. The at-large councillors will provide additional perspectives and alternative points for citizens. Voters will elect 4 councillors and a mayor. It's a reduction of 2 council members, and it's expected to increase decision-making efficiency. That's it. That was the report. 13 members of council down to 11, 2 at-large councillors down from 5. At the ballot box, you'll vote for 5 people: the mayor, 2 at-large, and 2 ward councillors. The report comes back to council for their final decision on whether to proceed or kill it on April the 7th. 1 more month for councillors to consider the recommendation and for the committee to make adjustments to the final option. Once the discussion is on the floor, and it was on the floor last night, you could see from a mile away what's going to happen on April 7th. All councillors present put their hand up to be on the speaker's list. All of them. And away we went. One by one, every councillor had a complaint or a problem with the report, and very much in the very suggestion of even reducing the size of council. Everything fell from, well, right now we vote for 7 people out of 13, and if we take this plan, we're only picking 5. It's not a majority of people. The chair of the committee answered that part perfectly, summarizing, of course, her answer was very simple. Well, in Toronto, you vote for 1 mayor and 1 councillor, and there are 25 councillors. You still only get 1 vote. It was a great answer and a great explanation. Now, I won't get into all of the complaints. There's not enough time for that, but they had them all. But by the end of the discussion, I was starting to think that the committee plus little old me are the only 2 people in town that think this is a good idea. Here's my observation on it. The 5 at-large councillors will not accept this recommendation because there are 5 chances to get in. And the new proposal, there will only be 2, meaning the popularity contest of the at-large race just got a whole lot harder for them. The ward councillors won't accept it because twice as many people are going to vote for a ward councillor under the new proposal. Some wards right now get 3,000 or 4,000 votes. There will be a lot more people voting in those wards when they're redeveloped, and they know that their comfy positions in their small wards, where they're a shoe-in to get in every year, will be a lot harder. It's legitimately that simple. My guess is that this report and this idea and this proposal is dead before it even gets to council on April 7th. It's another example of council setting the stage and asking for suggestions for change and getting a report back after a year and a half of work and hundreds of hours of work, only to not accept any of it because it doesn't serve them personally. That's what's going to happen. And to be honest, it's extremely unfortunate. On the same topic, there were 2 deputations last night. One of them I will not even give any airtime to because the context and at times the inappropriate and rude accusations that were made about the committee, administration, and even the city clerk personally were completely shocking to me. It was difficult to listen to. So we're not going to give it much more airtime than that. At one point, though, the chair jumped in to interject with the deputant saying that he was out of line. And at one point, a point of order even from the city manager, where he interrupted and called some of the comments offensive and even a response from the clerk that made it very clear there was nothing funny going on with this committee or even her position. She's an extremely high-functioning administrator, and to me, the smartest person in the room when it comes to policy, procedures, and municipal governance. The deputant was out of line last night and deserved all the corrections. That's as much airtime as I'll give it. It's 10 minutes we'll never get back. All in all, this well-thought-out report, with an enormous amount of work behind it, comes back to council again April 7th for their approval. And by the sounds of it, the whole project will be a costly, colossal waste of time. Expect it to die in council chambers that night. And finally, another major decision that required a pile of work from administration that has been in front of council for over 2 years. A direction to administration from this council that they gave long ago. They asked administration to do a job. It came back and it was over fast enough to make your head spin. The topic, the sale of lands, Parkettes, that the city has deemed surplus and made available to sell. The list was long when it first started, and then we were down to only 2. Council killed most of them up until this point, except for one outlier that has been in front of council before. The two lots and property are located at 172 and 168 Woodside Drive. The sale of the Parkettes would land the city about $15,000 a year in tax revenue and make space for more housing builds. An impassioned group of neighbors presented their ideas to save the parks again last night, complete with drawings and renderings of what it would look like, and presented very well to council. Then it got to council's questions, and in about 3 minutes, the idea was dead. Councillor Zazino put his hand up, put forward a motion to defer the decision on the sale of the Parkettes. That's all it was. I'd like to put a motion to defer. Then the question came, for how long? His answer, 2 years. Immediately the vote was called, and bang, just like that, it was over. Nearly unanimous, and the deferral to sell the lands will now come back in 2 years. You can place your bets on what happens there, but ironically, 2 years from now will be the end of this term of council. So essentially what we've done is passed it to the next group. It was a lot last night, but there's a key message here that I will continue to point out because it keeps happening. And it's a simple progression. Council gives an idea, sends it to administration, do the work. In most cases, it's a pile of work, only to bring them into the present idea, and the idea dies at the table. It's what they ask for, it's the report that they get, and then it's thrown out. Even if the ideas save us money, or in this case, with the Parkettes, make us money, it doesn't matter. Once again, administration was given a massive task in 2 cases last night. Both were presented to council as they asked for, and all of that work was for nothing.
Wow. Everything gets deferred all the time.
Well, the park thing is sensitive. I have, I have an empty lot next door to my house.
Yep.
It's been there forever. It used to have a skating rink on it.
Yeah.
Now it's got a whole bunch of new trees on it. That lot would probably go for a good buck. Mm-hmm. I don't see a lot of kids playing in it. My neighborhood's a little older, but it's personal preference. And again, the deputies last night about the Woodside Parks, they love that space. They live next to it. It's busy with kids. All great reasons to keep it. But why did we go through all of this work in order for it to be thrown out again for another 2 years?
Well, this is just similar to this council composition. You mentioned it in your report, like a year and a half of work to put forward options
the
that
amount
have been
of work
studied.
The amount of work that administration did just to figure out the 4 new wards.
Yeah.
The boundaries, the populations, the income levels, everything considered in all of that work for nothing. Now, something might change before April 7th.
Right, something
but
might.
I'm willing to bet a sandwich that absolutely it's going to get thrown out.
So that's your gut feeling.
Oh, it was their gut feeling last night.
Yeah.
All of them in the room put their hand up to speak on it, and all of them had a complaint with it.
All right.
Of course it does. Of course they do, because it's their job, right? This new plan is going to make it a lot more difficult to get voted in. And a lot of those lifers around that table know that they will be on the hook.
All right. Thanks for your input, John. That has been your City Council Roundup for this Tuesday. A reminder, there's a few ways that you can access it again. You can go to our website, 999thebay.ca. Click on the link. You'll find it there. Or you can text the word council to our T-Bay Tel Talk and text line 807-344-8229. That'll give you a direct link in just a bit. Appreciate your thoughts, John. There a council meeting next week on the schedule?
It's going to be a dandy. Hold this space.
All right. Hang tight. It's 8:22.